All right, everyone. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for being here today, and welcome back to our second student solo piano concert series. For those who do not know me, my name is Shireen Mustafa, and this is Matt Friedland. We are both the owner of a music studio located in Tempe, Arizona, United States of America, called Music Lessons Arizona. I am excited to introduce you to our performer today. Her name is Claire, and she is 9 years old. She is a student of mine, and she will be performing selected pieces from the Detsky album. Detsky is a Russian term for children, so it's a children's album. It is composed by a living Russian composer. His name is Vladimir Korovitsyn. And this album is not performed often in the States. I came across his music by my colleague who lives in Germany. She's also a piano pedagogue, and I had the opportunity to listen to a couple of her students perform Korovitsyn's music, and it in this album it has a lot of different styles. So it's got the Baroque period, and it goes all the way to the jazz. So it's got Baroque dance suites to romantic lyrical pieces to jazz music. And I heard it and I'm like, oh, you know what, this would be perfect for my young students to learn. So I played through the entire album myself, and I'm like, you know what? I think Claire would be great to play these pieces. So I selected a total of 15 pieces, and she will be performing all 15 pieces of it. There's a lot more, but we only chose 15 of them. And so before the concert begins, just out of respect to the audience members and Claire, please mute yourselves. You may utilize the chat box if you would like to communicate through that. And I will also type each piece's title in the chat box for you. So without further ado, I think we're all set, we're all ready, and please welcome Claire. 站起来吧。 Claire. Miss Shireen is so proud of you. That was great. Guys, you can put it in the chat box too if you think Claire did a great performance. Or you can just say it out loud if you like. That
You
was
did a
really,
great performance.
yeah. See? Oh, somebody says bravissimo. Good job. So that was so amazing. We loved it. Awesome. Bravo. Great job. Great job. See? That's great. Well, Claire, how do you feel now that it's over? What?
More relaxed.
More relaxed? Yeah, you were a little bit nervous earlier, huh? Yeah, I think it's very normal to be nervous when we all perform. When Miss Shireen performs, I get nervous too. Mr. Matt, do you get nervous when you perform?
Absolutely. I think we all get nervous.
So what do you do when you get nervous?
That's a good question. What do you do when you get nervous before you're about to perform? What did you do, Claire? Like, what was it for you? Because like were you a little nervous before you started, and then how did things go as you started to play, and what happened for you?
Well, I just tried to think that there weren't so much people watching me.
Okay.
I
Okay.
kind of um, just think that it was just me and that I wouldn't be so nervous,
Mm-hmm.
calm down and relax.
And as you started to play, did you start to feel more comfortable?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right. You know what Miss Shireen does when I get nervous before I perform? They're two of my favorite foods. I eat a banana or I eat dark chocolate. They calm me down. And there is this scientific research saying that if you eat a banana about 10-15 minutes before you perform, or eat just a small handful of dark chocolate, it's supposed to help you calm down. So
It's true. I don't know what it is about bananas,
yeah.
but it works. If you eat a banana before you got to do a presentation, it works.
Yeah. So some little tips for you guys if you're also, if you're preparing some kind of presentation or if you're performing. So I just received more uh, praise, I guess. So it says, great job and beautiful music, wonderful. Thank you, Claire and Shireen. Beautiful, beautiful. It was very good. Cool. Somebody says cool. Give you a thumb up. I liked all the songs. Great job. And yeah, so it was actually 15 songs, not 13. And somebody says, wow, and you did a great job. So that was fantastic. So Claire, are your parents here? Are they on Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Dad. Just wanted to see. There's the little sisters there. The whole family is here.
Yeah.
So just wanted to know how is it like to prepare a concert for Claire? Like, cause we started to work on this project back in August or so. And
Yeah.
so, what was the whole process like for Claire? Because this is her very first solo concert, and prior to that, we were just basically playing one or two pieces, and we performing like a recital where you just play for about 5 minutes, and this time you actually played for close to 20 minutes worth of music. So, what was the process of preparing this concert like for you guys?
Well, I think Claire worked so hard. So she basically practiced at least half hour to 1 hour every day. Like before the performance this week, basically practice more than 1 hour every day. Um, yeah, so that's the time she spent on the piano and also the little one.
Yeah. Do you think so? How is practicing over an hour a day? How does that feel for you, Claire? Is that something doable?
Well, sometimes it is very hard. when I really enjoy it, it's doable. And sometimes when I'm just feeling a bit down, it's not really doable.
Right. Yeah. So see, one thing that Claire mentioned is, when she enjoys playing the piano, that she's able to sit at the piano longer than an hour. It's no problem. I think she was probably got into like the meditative state of playing the piano, so she's able to be there, sit at the piano, and play for a while. So, guys, when you were maybe doing something enjoyable, like for example, like for me, playing piano, it's enjoyable, and it can be meditative sometimes, and like I cook. I lately I try to cook a little bit more, and I find that when I'm at the kitchen, chopping up the vegetables and making recipes and cooking and putting all the ingredients together, it's really meditative. And there are times when I cook it, I just spend like about 3 hours in the kitchen. Like, oh gosh, where did the time go? I still have like 2 hours of work I gotta do after that. So yeah.
So, yeah, guys, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Claire. Awesome job today. And I want to thank all you guys who came out today for the concert, which is like super awesome. And I'm just curious from the people in the audience today, like, what was it that you guys wanted to see or hoping to see today from Claire? You could put it in the chat, like, if you were just interested in hearing the music, maybe if you have kids and you wanted your kids to see Claire perform, if you're studying piano yourself. We'd love to hear from you guys because, it's great that you guys all came out in this time where we're still kind of like sheltered and stuff like that. And, we could have all been laying in bed watching Netflix, but we appreciate you guys coming today to watch this. And
Absolutely.
just curious, like, what was it for you guys that made you guys want to come out? And just put in the chat. Do you have kids that want to learn, or did you have any questions about the performance or the music or any of that kind of stuff? Please share. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You could actually just speak up too. Looks like some of you guys are not muted. Oh, okay. So like one of our piano students says that needed an inspiration. So hopefully watching Claire perform it inspires you. So yeah.
And also, I think a couple interesting things about this is the preparation, and then also the nerves and stuff like that, which is kind of like they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like you guys seeing this and what Claire goes through and this experience of like doing those things, because I think in the course of our lives, we're gonna have to do performances, or we're gonna have to like public speak or that kind of thing. I think it's just gonna come up. I think it's just a very important thing to get experience or comfortable doing. So for Claire to do this at such a young age, hopefully that gives you a lot of confidence as you kind of grow older and you're able to do these things like later on in school or maybe in your career or stuff like that. And so we really admire that. And I think some of the things that go into that, that's why we wanted to talk a little bit about the preparation and how you guys actually prepared for this. And I was looking at, Shireen was putting the music on the screen there and the notes that she has about certain sections. And I'm sure you guys worked very, diligently together. And
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, when we were working on this album, this Russian album, Claire can learn. She can read music, and she learns them fairly quickly with the notes. But it's because of her young age, it's difficult to play music romantically. So it's not just plucking out the notes, but we want to make the music sound more musical. And so usually for young age students, they just don't really know much of the emotion. They know what cry is, they know what angry feels like, they know what happy feels like. But then when a piece of music, I ask my students, hey, put emotions into your playing in your music, then they're like, huh, what's that mean? So they don't know. So we've been working a lot on that, and just performing for so many people on Zoom, and there's always always this nervousness that would kick in, and then, of course, you will have to discount a little bit of what we actually worked on in class when you're doing the actual performance. But the more performances you do, the more comfortable you will become. And it's actually a really good training. Like what Matt said, it's a very good training when you grow up. Hopefully that you'll feel more comfortable, and you will be more, you'll be like a good leader. You'll become a leader.
We saw in the comments too, some people mentioned stuff about being inspired, which is really cool. So I think that's the kind of thing about watching a performer, because you get inspired and then it kind of makes you want to do it, and it kind of perpetuates the whole, I think, cycle of things. So, if this inspired you guys today to do something that was maybe a little outside of your comfort zone, I think that's a good thing, because I think in order to make progress in ourselves, we have to get a little uncomfortable. But hopefully, Claire, like you feel like I think you mentioned you feel like super relieved now that it's over, right? So you're like there's this big kind of weight off the shoulders. And
Right.
what's cool about it is it's kind of like this thing of like closure, because you work so hard on it for maybe months, I'm assuming, and then here's the big, grand build up of it, and you get in, perform, and you're like in the moment, you're probably like, I'm actually doing this, I'm playing now, like as it's happening, and then it's over, you're like, like it's over and I did it. And I think it's kind of a transformative thing, once it's over, you're like, I kind of saw it through and did that. I think that's really important. Just for our growth as people, and so yeah, if Claire was inspiring to you guys today, that's awesome, and I think that's really just one thing that we can all take away from that. So I just want to point that out.
Right. A lot of people have mentioned, that Claire, you inspired them a lot. There's several of people say that in the chat. So Claire, yeah, this is fantastic. So
Yeah, so I want to say thank you, Sharon, for putting a lot of effort for this concert. We really appreciate it as the parents of Claire, and I know I've been teaching there for years, and I literally see grow every day on the piano. A lot of good things.
right, yeah. Thank you so much. Cause so Claire has been studying with me for a couple of years. I don't know exactly how long. I think like two and a half or so, and
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of growth in Claire also, because when she started, she was like 7 with me, and then like back then I already knew she's a little bit more mature. So now that she is 9, she becomes a lot more mature. I can see like she's very mature for her age, and she's taking on her own responsibility, and she actually practices piano on her own too. I'm so proud of her. There are a lot of children. What?
Yeah. Thank you for creating these opportunities for Claire, so she can also push herself to a level that it's hard to believe she can make it. Before the concert, we already worry about, there's so many pieces, right? 15 pieces.
Right.
And if you're counting the pages, that's more than 20 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I thought, wow, there's so many pages. Even me, I cannot remember all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so you guys did, what was it, like kind of one piece per week or so, or how did you kind of tackle like the 20 pages or 15 pieces? How did that kind of go for you guys?
Oh yeah. So I think I can answer that.
Yeah, Karen can answer that.
Okay.
I think we did like a couple of pieces a week, or it's not once per 1 piece per week, but I think it was like a couple of pieces, and then she will go back and review and add on and add on. So this album is not the only pieces that Claire was working on. She actually worked on other pieces too, because in the spring there are some competition opportunities, and so we have to prepare multiple pieces, and so this album is just one of the pieces that we worked on in the class. So yeah,
I think it's interesting that you guys mentioned that because it's like you look at the work in total, and you're like 15 pieces or 20 pages, and you go, oh my God, how we're gonna do all that? And it's very interesting because I was hearing about this, this thought process behind people that are like really successful at like super hard, challenging things. For example, like Navy SEALs, like stuff like that. And the concept is like, why is their thought process successful versus others where we look at the total amount of work and we get overwhelmed and we kind of quit or give up before we even get started. And it was kind of explained in this way where it's like, if you're going to climb a mountain and you look at the very top, then it's like overwhelming. You're like, no way can I climb this mountain. But like successful people will look at it this way. It's like they'll look down at their feet and say, I just have to put one foot in front of the other. And if I keep doing one foot in front of the other, eventually I'll get to the top. So I was wondering if that was kind of the case for you guys. You looked at all the work, but it was probably something like, okay, well, I just have to do this 4-bar phrase today or this piece this week and little pieces, and then you end up getting to the top of the mountain.
Right.
Yeah, I think the some practice tips I can share with other parents is that for some difficult pieces, take into the small parts, like even like 1 or 2 lines, practice over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think, when we look at a performance, you look at a musician perform, we're seeing the end product results. We're not seeing that process of breaking everything down in little chunks.
Yeah.
But just so when we watch a musician play, like really that's what went on, behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a couple things that go into like getting to this point, which is process. But there's also like the component of like time and pressure, meaning like there was a date set. There was an event where you guys were going to do this recital. And so there was a time pressure thing where it's like you had to learn this music in X amount of time. But also like included in that is like more purpose behind the whole endeavor. Right. So it's like, okay, we're learning this so that we can do a performance so that we get to this result, this point today. I think it's the combination of all those things that kind of lead to this moment now.
Absolutely.
Just keep in mind, because it's like sometimes we'll practice stuff and we'll go, oh, it's really hard and why are we doing this? You know what I mean? If it's frustrating or that kind of thing. If it gives you personal enjoyment, that's good too. But I think it's a combination. That was the thing I think with anything, like when we were in music school, it was like performance after performance after performance. It was like, oh my goodness. And it just kind of kept throwing it at you. And it's funny, like, because those two things, the time and the pressure and process, ended up kind of yielding the result. So I just think that's something to kind of consider with any performance or what happens. And then sometimes we have to create that for ourselves. Like, Shireen put this on because I think it helps motivate the students and get to this point where you feel good, hopefully, about your accomplishments.
I'm amazed that she memorized 15 pieces.
Yeah.
Beautiful job on 15 pieces. And your dress is gorgeous, too.
Yes. That's the best part.
The dress, yeah. Beautiful dress.
Yeah, I know how hard it is just to memorize one piece and let alone 15 pieces and then remember the order in which to play them. Hats off, because I know that's very difficult. And, in my playing and years of playing, I've only been able to memorize a handful of pieces and I still make mistakes through them and you play them perfectly. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I think that's a good point too, right? It's like how do we memorize all this information or how do we put it together? I think it might be different for everybody. Was there anything that helped you memorize everything, Claire? Like what made it stick for you?
How do you know?
Order. Well,
It's kind of, it might not be fully aware of it yet, but I think, so music is a language. And when you get more familiar with the sounds, like just like language, we start remembering what words mean and things like that. and letting it hit your ear. I think some approaches that I was taught that helped me with the memorization process are singing what you play. So as you sing what you play, you start to internalize that sound, and what it does is connects the physical movement to the ear. Because what can happen in music is we can go through a physical movement, and it's more like just kind of pressing buttons and not really hearing what we're playing. But if we sing what we play, the two things come together, so that can really help.
Yeah, actually, speaking of singing, Claire does sing. She actually has really good ears. So, right, Claire, you sing, right? I remember you sing in school before the pandemic, and she does have she has very good ears, and so when she makes mistakes, she knows. So yeah, and that's why I think that's why Claire can remember the music fairly quickly too. She can learn to play. She can learn to learn the notes and learn them very fast, and can remember them very fast.
Yeah, I think another example you can think about, like 15 pieces, like a 15 beautiful essay. If you remember the first sentence, and basically by practicing you can finish each essay. So
Right.
that's how you can memorize all the pieces. Yeah, because you can start from the first sentence, finish the whole thing, and then start the first sentence of the second piece. Continue and keep going.
It's like an actor. An actor forgets their line and they go line and they tell them the first like couple words or something like, okay, yeah,
And
that's
then
it.
to
And they
remember,
like
yeah.
go again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of devices that go in. But the other thing about memory is I find that like memory's kind of like a muscle. Like when you work it, you kind of like improve it. So, I imagine the process being like, Claire, you had the music in front of you, so you're kind of reading it, like seeing it, like, okay, here's what the notes look like, and playing it using the ear, and eventually the music goes away and more repetition, and then like the memory muscle starts building up and building up. So just like keeping that in mind, you know what I mean? Like I think in the beginning, like, yeah, when we try to memorize something, we all have kind of short term. So it's like if somebody were to give you directions and speak the directions, I'm lost after step 2. I'm like, oh, I made it right where? Okay. So like if they have it written down and you see it and you're like, okay, I go here, and then you actually drive the route. The more you drive the route, then you start to memorize the landmarks. So just keeping that in mind, like it's a lot to memorize stuff, but again, it's like those building blocks, and it shows like it's possible. It's like it seems like it's an impossible task, but Claire's performance today, I think, demonstrates that it is possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, thank you again for Jerry's hardworking. Yeah, even for class, it's hard to believe she can make it.
Yeah. And thank you for putting the time into putting this together, Claire. You have inspired so many people, and all of your classmates, your colleagues here at the studio. They're all here to support you. And so before we wrap things up, just wanted to let you guys know that I do have this performance recorded. And also Catherine's performance from October, it is also being recorded. I just haven't had a time to put together to send it out to you, but I promise I will. And just so you know that next weekend, next Saturday at 6:30 p.m., one of my other piano students will also do a solo concert. Her name is Carrie. Carrie, are you here? Let's see if Carrie.
There she is.
Where's Carrie?
Was that her?
Oh, there's Carrie. Yeah, Carrie. So Carrie is going to have her solo concert next week at 6:30, and I will also be sending you the invitation. So that's what's going on at the studio before the holidays. So
again, we want to thank everybody who came today. Congratulations to Claire, and we hope to see you guys again next week.
yeah, and have a wonderful week. And I know I will see most of you soon this week. And yeah, so have a nice weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here.
guys. Take care. We'll see everybody real soon.
Everyone, join us. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Claire.
Thank you. Good job.